Now, here we go. Now I'm about to get excited, okay? This is going to be the best training I've ever seen, okay? The 6 keys to becoming an effective presenter. We're going to teach you the ins and outs to become an effective presenter. This has been probably the most important training that I've ever done, because this is how you duplicate presenters, right? This training right here. This has duplicated so many presenters throughout the years, okay? In the last 30 years, this training is what helped me become successful in this industry, but it's what helped me create some of the most effective presenters in the entire industry have came through this training. So I can promise you this: if you got a pen, if you got a paper, and you write this information down, and it's not just about acquiring, guess what? It's also about doing something else, and it's called applying it. Okay? Acquire it and apply it. Learn it and do it. Okay? Don't just listen and learn, but listen and apply. Okay, I'm gonna get into it. I'm gonna stop dancing around. The first one is this, right? The first key to becoming an effective presenter is understand the power of presenting. You've got to first understand the power of presenting. Okay, let's talk a little bit about what I'm talking about. Okay, this was me when I got started in this industry in 1996. Okay, in 1996, this is what Tim Herr looked like. Okay, this is what Tim Herr looked like. That's what I look like on day one. If I can make it happen, you can make it happen. There's nobody that is as bad as I was. Okay, that's embarrassing. Like, I'm looking at that guy going, dude, that guy looks broke. Okay, and I'm telling you what, I was able to do what? Right, I was able to change my life because I learned how to present. So just realize it doesn't matter where you start. Okay, it matters where you're going, and we're going to talk about that tonight. Okay, so everybody knows, right, that baby rattlesnakes are more dangerous than adult rattlesnakes, right? And the reason why I'm talking about rattlesnakes is not to scare anybody, because I'm definitely afraid of rattlesnakes, okay? But the reason why the little baby ones are so deadly, and let me explain to you why, is because baby rattlesnakes can not control the quantity of the venom injected, meaning it's referred to in the field of herpetology, right? Venom metering. They don't have venom metering. So when they strike you and they hit you, see you later. See you later, buddy, because they don't hold back any venom. Now, what does this have to do with presenting? Because once you learn how to present, man, you become like a baby rattlesnake. You become unstoppable. I can remember the first time I did a presentation, the guy who I got started, his name was Rob Alarcia. Rob Alarcia. That was the first guy I ever presented to that got started. It made me unstoppable. I was blown away. I'm like, what? He got started by my presentation? I was blown away, because before I was just doing presentations and I would roll him into a second exposure. And after that presentation, he got in and got started, and he, $1,295 to get started in that business in the 90s. He got started, and I'm like, I can't believe Rob got in. I was blown away I was able to do it. But after that point, I became a baby rattlesnake. After that point, I became unstoppable, okay? Because I just started doing presentations like crazy. So what I've discovered now throughout my career is what? If you're the upline presenter, you want to be developing a new presenter, okay? So if I get a brand new person started that I'm going to develop as a presenter, week number 1, guess what I'm going to do, right? I'm going to do 100%. I want them to watch and learn, right? If I'm going to be doing presentations for you and you're brand new, and I'm like, look, you want to watch and learn me do all the presentations that I'm going to be doing for you, watch and learn. Now, let me ask you a question. Think about this for a second. If you're watching and learning me do a presentation, and I'm working directly with somebody, and I just sponsor a new person, think about this. If they get me in front of one person, how many presentations are they going to watch and learn from? 1. Now, if they get me in front of 10 people, guess what? How many presentations they're going to watch? 10. Do you think that a new person is going to learn more by 10 presentations or 1? 10. So what do we want to do? Right? When you're developing a new presenter, you want to be like, look, week number 1, man, you want to get me in front of as many people as possible. Right? Get me in front of the hardest people that you think that you don't think that we can get. Because if I show them the business and they don't get started, they're going to reject me, not you. Now, if I get them started, they're going to go in your organization and you're going to become successful. So you got nothing to lose, everything to gain. Okay. Now, if you want to become a really good presenter, put me in front of 10 to 20 people, because you're going to be able to watch everything I do. But because week number 2, I'm going to be doing 80, you're going to be doing 20. So now I'm doing 80%, and guess what's happening to you? You're doing 20%. Now, week number 3 is going to be a little bit different. Now I'm doing 20, you're doing 80. Okay. By the 4th week, you're going to be doing 100%. And guess what's going to be happening to me? You're doing 100%. I'm watching and admiring you. I'm noticing how good you are as a presenter. So that's called 4 weeks to duplication. Okay. Sometimes it takes a little bit longer than that, but that's exactly what we're going for. Okay. So here's what I want to show you. There's two types of people that become presenters. There's workhorses and there's show ponies. Workhorses are the ones that get the checks, right? They're the big money earners. The show ponies are the ones that are trying to get their ego fulfilled by like, I'm a presenter, listen to me. They're doing it for all the wrong reasons, right? They're trying to show off that they know how to present and they're doing it for their ego fulfillment. Workhorses are like, let me show you how to do it. And they want to duplicate. They want to make it happen. Show ponies just want to prance around and show you how great they are. Okay. They're not effective and they definitely don't develop people. Workhorses are the ones. Do you want to develop as a presenter so you can become a workhorse and make a fortune? Okay. Let's talk a little bit about what it looks like. Okay. The goal is to teach people how to be able to do everything without you doing it. Okay. Prime example is what? Right. Teaching a toddler how to wipe their own butt. Right. You want to teach a baby how to wipe their own butt. Why? Because wiping butts is disgusting. Think about it. Nobody wants to wipe butts on here, right? You wipe your own butt because you don't want to be walking around with a duty butt. But guess what? You want to teach somebody you want to teach your babies how to be able to wipe their own butt, right? So that's the same thing with our business, right? You want to teach your people how to be able to present. I'm not trying to do every presentation. Why? Because the more presenters, whoever has the most presenters is going to win. Whoever has the most people out there that know how to present and are presenting are going to be able to make it happen, okay? Now, you all know if you've got kids, you teach them how to wipe their butt at the beginning, they're not too good. There's going to be some skid mark in the draws, right? We know there's going to be some skid marks, but guess what? You've got to go through the pain in order to learn how to do it, okay? Now, we don't want to be doing it forever. So the prime example of this is what? There's a book by Daniel Coyle called The Talent Code. And in this book, he says, a teacher is one who makes themselves progressively unnecessary. A teacher is one who makes themselves progressively unnecessary. You want to teach, train, and duplicate. So let's talk about what it looks like. Here's what we can learn from a relay race. You got to receive the baton, right? If you want to become a presenter, if you want to develop presenters, which should be your ultimate goal, right? If you've got 100 presenters out there that are presenting, are you going to be better off than if you've got 0? Okay, that's an IQ question. Obviously, you will be, right? So how do you develop presenters? It's just like a relay race, right? You've got to be able to first off receive the baton, right? In a relay race, there's an area called the exchange zone. That's where one runner passes the baton to the other runner. That's where the fortune's created in our business. Because number one, if you're saying, hey, look, I'm going to become an effective presenter, number one, you've got to be willing to stick your hand out to grab the baton. And number two is the person you're working with has got to want to pass the baton to you. Okay, we want to develop presenters. The second thing is what? Run your leg of the race, right? I love that. Run your leg of the race. If you're running 100 meter or a 4x100, a 4x400, okay, run your leg of the race. Okay, people can't follow in your footsteps if your feet aren't moving. Bang, bang, bang. I like that. People cannot follow in your footsteps if your feet aren't moving. Let's go, man. Duplicate, right? Duplicate. Number three is what? Pass the baton. Be a good finder, not a fault finder. In order to develop presenters, you've got to look for what you like in people, not what you don't like in people. If you're always looking and pointing out people's faults, you're never going to develop presenters. You want to look for what you like in people. Because whatever you focus on will expand. Whatever you focus on will expand. So you want to be a good finder, not a fault finder. The prime example of this would be what, right? If you're looking at these numbers right here, it says what? 1 + 1 is 2. 2 + 2 is 4. Everybody knows. 3 + 3 is 6. 4 + 4 is 7. 5 + 5 is 10. 6 + 6 is 12. 7 + 7 is 14. Now, when I show that to you, what do you look at? Everybody says, Tim, 4 + 4 is not 7. It's 8, buddy. You're wrong. That's how most people are, right? They look for fault like there's a reward for it. There's no reward for finding fault. Nobody says, man, you know what? There's 6 of those 7 are right, man. Nobody says 6 out of 7 is right. They say 1 out of 7 is wrong. All we've got to do is look for what we like, and more of it will expand. That's how you develop presenters. Let's talk a little bit about it, right? When does a giraffe know he's a giraffe? Think about that. When does a giraffe know he's a giraffe? The giraffe knows he's a giraffe whenever they give birth to a giraffe. You give birth to what you are. Okay? You give birth to what you are. So you understand, if you want to develop presenters, guess what you got to do? You got to first be one. Well, Tim, I'm scared. I'm nervous. So get over it. Do it. Right? It's okay to be nervous. It's okay to be afraid. That's where you guys understand something? I would love to be nervous. Like, you know how much I would give to be able to have like butterflies when I speak? To be like, oh my God, I'm so nervous. I hope I don't mess up. That would be amazing, man. That was back 30 years ago when I first started presenting. I used to feel that feeling and do it anyways, man. It's the best feeling on earth. You understand when you're afraid to do something and you do it anyways? That's how you grow. That's how you develop. So giraffes give birth to giraffes, right? And that's whenever they figure out they're a giraffe. Okay, so let's talk about number two. Expedite the learning process. I'm glad I said that. That's big. Expedite the learning process. Let's go through this really fast. I'm going to give you the 10 most important tips to become an effective presenter. Number one is developing new talent and new skills takes time. Nobody's a natural. Nobody's naturally good at this business. Like nobody pops out of the womb. Nobody's like, boom, they jump out of the womb and they're like, yo, let's go present. Like some of the best presenters, man. Today we had a leadership training in Cabo San Lucas, and Kate Twig and Brianna did the training, and it was like people were blown away. Well, guess what? At one point, they weren't good. You understand? They weren't that good. How'd they get good? By doing it. You don't get good. They didn't pop out of their mom's womb and be like, boom, I'm ready to do a presentation in Cabo San Lucas on Riman. No, they learned how to do it. You understand? You can learn it too. It's a skill set, right? So I love the fact if you want to become a serious student, right? If you want to win and expedite your learning, become a serious student. Okay. First thing you got to get is your first year in network marketing. I tell people like this: if you want to work with me directly and you haven't read the first year in network marketing, I don't think I can work with you. Because if you don't understand your first year in network marketing, you're not going to be properly equipped. Mark Yarnell and Rini Yarnell, they wrote one of the best books of all time when it comes to direct selling. And I can tell you right now, I read that book in the 90s when it came out, and it revolutionized everything for me. Your first year in network marketing by Mark and Rini Yarnell, that book is critical for anybody that wants to become successful. Number two is always have a journal, right? If somebody's just writing on napkins and stuff, you know what? They're not serious, student. Get a journal, right? Invest in empty books, right? That's what I like to do. Number three is what? Turn your car into a mobile classroom. Listen to personal growth and development. Listen to a voice of value. Listen to information that can revolutionize your life. I like listening to Jim Rohn, Les Brown, Zig Ziglar, John Maxwell, Robert Kiyosaki, Brian Tracy. There's so many good ones that are out there. It's just listen to a voice of value. Turn your car into a mobile classroom. You need to expedite the learning process. More meetings means more money, right? The 5 M's. More meetings means more money. Go to meetings and learn, right? Guard your mind, right? Eliminate negative self-talk, right? You can't be negative to yourself. You got to be your number one biggest cheerleader. You got to be pumping yourself up all the time, right? You got to say to yourself, man, I got what it takes, right? I'm going to make it happen. Only give positive feedback, right? Avoid negative criticism. When you're developing a presenter, right, or you're becoming a presenter and somebody's negative to you or criticizes you, just block it out. And if you're developing a presenter, all you got to do is focus on what you like about them, not what you don't like. Okay, you got to point out when somebody does a presentation, I like that, I like this, I like that. Point out what you like, okay? How you do anything is how you do everything, right? How you do anything is how you do everything. Okay, I love that. This is strong right there. So here it is. Number 8 is what, right? The time will never be just right. So just start doing it. How do you get good at doing anything? You just do it. There's nobody that's successful in anything that didn't start doing it. You understand? You become successful by doing it. You don't become successful by thinking about it. Start presenting today. You don't want to be the king or the queen. You want to be the king or queen maker. Think about what I'm saying. You're not trying to be the big dog, right? You're trying to develop the big dog, right? You want to be the king or queen maker. It's not about how great you are. It's about how many people you can develop. How many people you can develop. But you can't develop people if you don't first what? Take action, right? I can't teach somebody how to do something that I don't know how to do. Let me teach you how to tie your shoes. Well, let me find out first. It's not going to work. Learn how to do it so you can duplicate it. I love this. This is so good. The best presenter never wins. This is critical right now. The best presenter never wins. What? Tim, you just been talking about becoming a good presenter. Yeah, but the best presenter never wins. It's the person who can duplicate the most presenters always wins. Bingo. Jackpot. Jackpot. Head blown. Wowzer. That's good information. You might want to write that one down if you didn't capture that bad boy. The best presenter never wins. It's the person who can develop the most presenters always wins. How many presenters can you develop? First, you got to be one yourself. Let's go. All right, here we go. Number 3 in the 6 steps to become an effective presenter. Opening is the most important stage. There's 3 stages to this business, or presenting. Opening is the most important stage. Okay, opening is the most important stage. Let's talk about what that looks like, okay? I'm going to give you something to understand, right? The first stage is opening, right? Opening your prospects to the opportunity, right? Discover their hot buttons, right? Form, ask them questions about their family, their occupation, their recreation, their motivation, right? In that opening stage, I want to create a little bit of pain, right? I want to kind of find out what's in their life that they want to change, right? What do they not like about where they are right now? And I want to get them ready for the close. And I'll talk about how to do that today, okay? Then the number two stage, which is the least important, is the presenting stage. The part that most people are afraid to do is the least important part. Okay. You just share with your prospects the Riman opportunity. Answer, is it real? Can I do it? What's in it for me? You want to make the product a superstar, show them that Riman is a solution to their problems. Super simple. Number three stage is the close. Okay, the close. Right. Have the link ready to go. Right. AAFTC, we'll talk about that a little bit. Always ask for the close. Right? Overcome the objections, receive the payment, and guess what? Post-close, set up a connection call. Bang, bang, boom. This is lottery, man. I feel like we won the lottery with this information. This might be the best training I've ever heard in my life. Thank you for sharing it with me. Here we go. 11 tips to become, okay, this is so, guess what's going to happen to everybody right now? You're going to be so excited. This is great information, okay? 11 tips to successfully open up your prospect. Number one, you want to make sure the presenter's properly edified, right? You've got to present. Whoever's going to be sitting down doing the presentation, whether it's a one-on-one on a Zoom, a one-on-one at a Starbucks, whether it's a one-on-one in an office or wherever, it doesn't matter if it's a one-on-one, doesn't matter. And it can be a Zoom one-on-one. It doesn't matter. It could be a pop-up. It could be it doesn't matter what it is. Okay. It could be, it could be a meeting that Jose Luis is doing out of the Mexican office, right? Out of the Mexico City office, like he did last night. He did the first meeting in Mexico City. Everybody was so pumped. Maybe it's that presentation. Maybe it's the Monday night event I'm doing at HQ in Irvine, right? I don't know what it is, but you want to make sure that the presenter is properly edified. Whoever's doing it, you got to get them, you got to edify, right? Make sure that people have that respect factor. Believe 100% they're going to get started. That's a no-brainer, right? When I sit down to do a presentation with somebody, I already know they're getting in. They have, like, there's no way that they couldn't get in. Like, how would somebody not want to get involved in Riman? Like, you would have had it. To me, it's like, in my mind, I know there's some people that don't get started, but in my mind, you would have to be eating a bottle of stupid pills not to want to do this, right? That's in my mind. Now, I don't make people feel like that. If they choose not to take advantage of the Riman opportunity, man, best of luck. I love them, and I know they're going to come back and get started at some point. But believe 100% they're going to get started. Number three is what? Ooh, I love this one. One chance to make a good impression, right? You got one chance, man. Eye contact, smile. Always remember the gentle touches build trust, and appropriate attire, right? You know what I mean? Like if you're doing a presentation, you know, you might not want to like, boom, show up, right, in gym attire or whatever, right? You don't have to be like suited and booted. Be whatever's proper, right? So let's do it. And then obviously sit next to your prospects. If you've got a prospect you want, and I'm doing a presentation, I'm sitting right next to them, not sitting across the table from them. Everybody knows that. That's easy, okay? Obviously, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. So you want to make sure you're doing a really good job of finding out what's their hot buttons are. I like to use that family, occupation, recreation, and money. Find out what's important to them. Everybody uses that one. I like to get them in the yes mode, right? I like to get them saying, me too, not so what, right? Me too, not so what. What do I mean by that? Right? If somebody's like, man, you know what? Like there's all these doctors here. We have all these doctors in the organization. Somebody's like, I'm a doctor. I'm not going to be like, hey, me too. Right. But I'm going to be like, man, you know what? You're a doctor, man. I always look up to doctors, man. How does it feel to like just be like so smart that everybody would like is like, dang, there's a doctor. Like, and I'm being honest. Like people know, like I'm about as smart as a bag of rocks. You know what I mean? So it's like when I tell somebody like, dude, like, how does it feel? Like everybody that knows you, like respects you. Right. It's like, I'm not connecting with them saying that I'm like that, but it's like if I'm like, hey, do you like, you know, what do you like to do for fun? And they're like, oh, I like to snow ski. I'm not gonna be like snow ski, bro. What? How do you like to snow ski whenever there's snowboards? Like, are you a dork? Like, I'm not gonna say that. Like, I'm gonna be like, dude, those guys, sometimes those skiers, man, they can do some wild stuff. You know what I mean? Like, how long you been skiing for? Right? I'm getting whatever they're saying. I'm jumping into it. Right? I'm not going to be like, you know, who's your favorite football team? They're like, I like the Raiders. I'm a Raiders. Next thing you're going to tell me you like the Dallas Cowboys. Like, I'm not going to be stupid, right? I'm not gonna do what I call poop in the pool, right? I'm going to make sure that I get them excited about whatever they're talking about, right? Ask open door questions: what, when, where, why, how. Always ask open door questions. If I ask you what, when, where, why, or how, you have to respond with something other than yes or no. Okay, a closed door question is a yes or no question. Open door question is, what do you like to do for fun? And now that's an open door question. A closed door question would be like, do you like to have fun? You know what I mean? Like, it's just a stupid question. You want to ask open door questions. What, when, where, why, how? Get them talking when you're opening up a prospect. Then obviously be a great listener, give physical feedback, spoken feedback. I'm here with our, today we brought our camera guy out here, and he's a good friend of one of our leaders in Mexico named Jose Luis. And he goes, you know, you remind me a lot of Jose Luis last night. And I said, what is it about Jose Luis that you love? He goes, when you're around Jose Luis, he's so interested in what you're saying. He makes you feel like you're the only one in the room. And I'm like, damn, that's a good thing to do, right? Is to be such a great listener. And how you do that is by giving physical feedback, right? If somebody's answering a question, you want to be nodding your head, getting into what they're saying. If they're answering a question, you want to be, oh my God, that's amazing. Well, seriously, like my wife and I, when we go out on date nights, we'll sometimes look around the restaurant and be like, that guy's not going to get any kissy time. That guy's not going to get any kissy time. That guy's not because they're just sitting there and they're not even getting engaged in the conversation. Then you'll see somebody like getting engaged in the conversation, like that guy's getting kissy time for sure. So it's kind of like you want to be a great listener, right? You want to give physical feedback, spoken feedback, jumping into what people are saying. Everybody knows that. Okay. Obviously, remember your body never lies. You know what I mean? Your body is always telling the truth. Expect them to get started. Expect them to get in, lean forward, have confidence, and then obviously always be prepared. Notepad, documents, laminates, brochures, products, whatever, right? You got to have whatever you need to have. Make sure you're prepared and ready to rock and roll. Now we're going to talk about the step number 4. The key number 4 is presenting. Just do it. Oh, this is good. Just do it. I love that word. First thing I'm going to do when I'm presenting is what? I'm going to change their listening. What do I mean by that? Okay, I'm going to change their listening. I'm going to take this away for a second because I'm going to show you that I memorize it because you want to memorize this. I'm going to change their listening, meaning that I'm going to take somebody from looking at information to be able to say, okay, I'm going to look at information with the intent to make a decision. Check out what I'm saying. Okay, I'm going to change the way they listen to the information right from the beginning. How do I do that? I'm not going to show you. I'm going to show you. I'm going to say right now, I'm going to give you enough information for you to be able to make an educated decision if Riman can help change you and your family's financial future. You taking up your time, me taking up my time. When I'm all through, give me a simple yes or give me a simple no, because you and I both know maybe you're thinking about it is a nice way of saying no. And I'll put my hand out and say, is that fair? If I'm doing a one-on-one Zoom, I say the same thing. If I'm doing a group meeting, I say the same thing. Okay, I'll slow it down because I went through it fast. And I know if some of you guys are like dialing in and you're like, dude, you know what I mean? Like English is not my first language, but he pumped the brakes a little bit. So watch. I'm going to give you enough information, right, for you to be able to make an educated decision right now. If Riman can like change you and your family's financial future, okay? And you taking up your time and obviously me taking up my time. When I get done, just give me a simple yes or give me a simple no, because you and I both know that a maybe or think about is a nice way of saying no. Is that fair? Boom, handshake, let's go. So that's something that my mentor taught me back 30 years ago. And guess what I did? I memorized it. And guess what I did? I say it every time. Because I don't want somebody afterwards, I don't want somebody listening to the information and being like, oh, maybe I might say yes, maybe I might say no. But that's fine. I don't want somebody saying afterwards, I'm just going to tell them I'm going to think about it. They're not even paying attention. If somebody knows they have to make a decision at the end of the presentation, they're going to listen with a different set of ears. Jackpot. Okay, here we go. Let's talk about it. I'm going to give you right now, this is going to happen right now, the 10 tips on how to become an effective presenter. Number 1 is understanding is the first part of influencing. Oh my God. That's powerful. Understanding is the first part of influencing, right? Seek first to understand, then to be understood. So if I'm going to try to influence you over to my way of thinking, first thing I got to do is figure out where you are. Like in order for me to take you where you want to go, I first got to find out where you're at, right? So it's kind of like hide and seek. You guys see that? Somebody's hiding, you got to go find him, right? You got to find out where somebody is in their life. Okay, you guys have ever played hide and seek and somebody, where are they at? Where are they at? Right? That's basically what you're doing when you're presenting. Before you present to somebody, you've got to connect with them, right? You've got to connect with them and you have to understand where they're coming from in order to be able to influence them. Man, this is good stuff. Identification is everything. Okay, I'm going to talk about the believability gap next. Okay, and that'll blow your brain. I mean, when I go over believability gap, you're going to be like, I can't believe I just heard that. Okay, identification is everything. So I've got to identify with you in my presentation. I got to get you going, wow, you know what? That's kind of how I am, okay? And I like to do something really light. Like when I saw this information for the first time, I was a little bit negative, a little bit doubtful, a little bit skeptical, but in the back of my mind, I was hopeful, right? I just hit everybody right there with that one. That's a good one. So open them up to something different, okay? When I'm doing my presentation, I don't want them to be like, whatever they're doing, I want them to be able to be like, I want a different result in my life. in order to get a different result, I've got to do something what? Different, right? So I want them thinking a little bit differently. Obviously, decision making, we all know, is 20% logic, 80% emotion. So you want to give people just enough logic to justify an emotional decision. Wowzer. I'm glad to jump on this call, Tim. Okay. This is all Jim Rohn stuff that I'm giving it to you. Okay. Decision making is 20% logic, 80% emotion. Let me say it again. People need enough logic to justify an emotional decision, but it's not 80% logic, 20% emotion. If you're too logical, not emotional enough, you're just going to confuse people, or you're going to get information overload. Okay. Analysis by paralysis. You guys know all that stuff. Okay. Here's what I'm saying. Get your prospect in the yes mode. Does that make sense? You follow what I'm saying? That if I already know that somebody wants to make an extra 5,000 a month because they want to be able to maybe get a new house or whatever, I'm gonna say, hey, you see, wait, right there. I mean, right there, when I show them how to make that money, I'm gonna be like, you see how that 5,000 a month could get you what you were talking about earlier about getting that house? Yes. Okay, boom. Man, I'm painting them in the picture, baby. Remove all the objections in the presentation. To me, it's like the only reason why we do presentations is to remove objections. So if you do it, objections, not rejections. So like, let me give an example. If I do a presentation and at the end of the presentation, somebody has an objection, whatever excuse they give me, what does that tell me? That tells me I didn't do an adequate job of removing that objection in the presentation. So if I do a presentation, I do 4 presentations in a row and I hear the exact same objection, that obviously tells me I did not do a good job using the believability gap to remove that objection. Okay. So guess what? I got to remove the rejection. I'm moving objections in the presentation. So by the time I get to the end, it's like, let's go, right? They're already in. Paint them in the picture, right? WIIFM, what's in it for me? I break out my Riman paint set and paint them in the picture. Okay. So if I say this, I'm showing somebody the comp plan, I'm showing them an income example, and I'm saying, I'm like, let's this, 12,000 a month. That's weak. But if I say, imagine what your life would look like at 12,000 a month, like what would change? What would change in your life at 12,000 a month? If you made $12,000 every single month, what in your life would change? What would be different? Maybe you get it, then I answer it for them, right? If I'm doing a presentation, maybe you get it, maybe that could help you get a brand new house, right? Maybe that could help out one of your family members. So now I'm painting them in the picture, right? Paint them in the picture. And that's easy. Okay. Always use voice inflection, like hello. Sometimes people are doing what? They're so monotone whenever they talk, you are thinking to yourself, oh my God, I'm about to fall asleep. Like you don't want to be obviously doing that, okay? You want to sound like you got a bunch of M&Ms in your mouth, right? You want to talk and pronunciate stuff. And like I can change a sentence by changing the way that I use voice inflection. And I'm going to use one that is a little bit, let's use a cell phone, right? If I say, I'm going to use the statement that says he did not steal the cell phone. Okay. He did not steal the cell phone. If I say he did not steal the cell phone, that implies that somebody else did. Because the where I put that he did not steal the cell phone. That means somebody else did, right? If I say he did not steal the cell phone, that means he just borrowed it for a little bit. If I say he did not steal the cell phone, that means he stole the freaking charger, right? So you can change the meaning of a sentence by the way you use voice inflection, okay? That's why you got to be all in, okay? Here's what I'm showing you guys. A good presentation is going to educate, entertain, and inspire. I'm not going to get into that, okay? Super simple. That's a no-brainer. Everybody understands that, okay? Let's talk a little bit about this. Make fun of yourself before your prospect does, okay? Like if you're trying to come across and impress people, literally in their mind, they're going, oh my God, this person is like, you're annoying. Like you want to be humble, you know what I mean? And make fun of yourself, right? You want to be relatable. You want to be like, if he can, I can. If she can, I can. But if you come across as the expert, nobody likes the expert. You don't want to come across, I know everything. And you try to impress people. You're trying to connect with people, okay? And that's a no-brainer. Give commercials for the next event. Like give an example. Like somebody said, give me an example, Tim, of what you're talking about when you say give a commercial for the next event. Well, if I'm doing a presentation, I keep telling you, hey, look, you know what? We're going to be talking more about this next week when we do the wow party training. Because I'm going to be doing the 5 secrets of how to become effective at duplicating wow parties. That training is going to be happening next Friday. So we're going to get more in details on that on Friday. And I say something like that every 5 or 10 minutes. You're like, oh my God, I can't wait for that training. 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 You're going to be on the training. So when you're giving commercials for whatever you're trying to move somebody into, if I'm doing a presentation, let's say I'm doing an overview and I'm doing a one-on-one, I'm going to say tonight, we're going to be doing an overview. We're going to be getting more information on that. Whatever I'm trying to move somebody to the next event is I'm giving commercials throughout that presentation to move them into the next experience. So you always want to give commercials. Obviously, prospects don't care where you are. They care where you're going, right? So don't be like, oh, once I make a lot of money, everybody's going to get started. No, dude, once I become a national director, Jim, like you, everybody, dude, nobody cares about where you are. They care where you're going. Okay. It doesn't matter what position or rank you are, cares about where you're going. So number 5, I love this one. The believability gap. Let's talk about this. Okay. The believability gap. Okay. What's the believability gap? Okay. The believability gap is simply this. Okay. First thing is identify, attack, and confess, logic, and reason, call to action. This is how you overcome an objection. So, like give an example. I'm just going to give you an example, right? Is if I'm going to give you an example of what I'm going to get rid of the money excuse, right? So I'm going to say, like, when I saw this information for the first time, I can remember when I sat in your seats, that first business that I saw was $1,295 to get started in that business. And I'm thinking, I'm identifying, and I'm thinking to myself, $1,295 might as well be $1 million. I don't have that much money. Now I'm going to attack and confess, right? But once I realize if I don't have $1,295 right now, look, what I've been doing hasn't been working. Now I just attacked and confessed that I had the problem. Now I'm going to use logic and reason. And I realize this, and when I think about it, I've got 365, I've got 365 days in a year. I got 168 hours in a week. When you look at what I was doing, didn't have me I've been working for about a year at a job, and I wasn't able to save up $1,295 yet. Common sense says I need to do something different. So I looked at this business and said, I'm getting in. I just removed that objection. So any objection somebody has, you identify the problem, attack the problem, confess you had the problem, giving them enough logic and reason, right? There's that 2080, and then bam, call to action, right? Call to action. So usually when I'm doing a presentation, the beginning 5 or 10 minutes, I'm saying, when I saw that, it started to think to myself, man, there might be something here. This really piqued my interest. This piqued my interest. Then about the next 10 minutes, this got me excited. This got me excited. This got me excited. That's call to action I'm using. Then at the last 10 minutes, I'm like, man, that's why I wanted to get started right away. So just realize a lot of you right now that are not presenting this information is just going right over your head. Okay. But some of you right now that are already presenting, you're like, oh, that's jackpot. That's jackpot. That's jackpot. I understand what I'm saying when I say this. The people that need this the most are getting it the least, the people that need this the least are getting it the most, right? Like if you're already presenting, right? This stuff is like, boom, you get it. So don't think you have to have all this information understood to start. You don't. Just start, and you're gonna pick this information up along the ways. Okay. AAFTC, right? Always ask for the close. This is key number 5. I'm gonna give you guys some information on this. This is strong. Okay. This is the 12 tips on how to become effective an effective closer, right? So this is an example. The first thing is this: confidence, urgency, and fear of loss, right? People are more motivated by fear of loss than they are by hope of gain, right? Let me say it again. People are more motivated by fear of loss than hope of gain. When I got started in Riman, I was like, dude, I knew my buddy Danny Bay that was showing me this was going to become a multimillionaire with this. And I knew, me looking at it at the beginning, if I was to not do it, I knew he was going to become wealthy. I'm like, this is a legacy company. I don't want to be that guy that saw Microsoft or Apple at the beginning and didn't do it, right? I'm like, this company is going to become a multi-billionaire company. Never before I've ever seen a company that has the stability and credibility of a billion-dollar giant, but the income potential of a startup. I said, this has never been done before. So I was fear of loss, right? So I always have that application ready to fill out, right? That online application, have it ready to go. You always got to be ready to rock. And then always expect people to get started at the premium starter kit, right? The big boy, okay? Always expect somebody to get started at the premium set. I'm never like thinking to myself, man, I hope this guy gets started at the basic. You understand now, dude, sometimes I don't even know if it's called the basic. It's called the X line, right? Okay, but if it's the basic, you know what I mean, or whatever, like the little pack. Now, when I do a presentation, some people do that, and I'm not going to make them feel bad. I'm not going to be like, bro, you got the little pack? What's wrong with you, dude? Like, I'm not going to make people feel bad or ashamed of themselves because they got a little package. I'm going to make sure what, right? I'm going to promote the bigger package, and I'm going to expect everybody to get started with that, right? And really what I do is I expect people to get 4 of the premium packs. That's what I do. Now, does everybody do that? Of course not. But I expect them to, because why would you not want to do that? Why would you not want to start at day 1 as a senior manager? If you knew you were going to become wealthy, would it make a difference? No. So I know they're going to become successful. Now, they don't, but by the time I get done doing a presentation, they're going to walk off saying, man, I'm going to get wealthy, right? They know that because I'm going to help them out. So, did you see a way, right? Did you see a way for you to be able to get that car you've always wanted? Did you see a way, blah, 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 whatever it is. Did you see a way? Number 4 is this. Ask a closing question and be quiet. I'm not going to say the word shut up, right? Because my wife's here. She doesn't like when I use that word. Okay. So ask a closing question and zip your mouth. Okay. Meaning what? Right. You don't want to be like, they ask a closing question and just keep on talking. Did you see a way for you to make some serious money? Quiet. I watch people when they close sometimes, like they're just talking too much, dude. It's like, stop, get them in. They wanted to get started 5 minutes ago, but you keep talking and you end up talking yourself out of it. Okay. Get them started right away. Right. Use a cushion. We talked about that overcoming objection training. Phil found. I'm not going to get into that. Persistence wears down resistance. Right. 7 no's equals a yes. Right. I'm not going to talk about that. We did that in objection training. If they're still seating, they want in. Right. If they're still sitting there, they want to get started. This is valuable, right? Whenever they're still sitting there, they want to get started. Okay. I love that one because sometimes you hear an objection and you're like, oh, and you just leave. Like, dude, what are you doing? They're just giving you an objection, meaning that they want you to spend a little bit more time on that. That's a concern of theirs. Spend a little bit more time on it. Don't be afraid of it or run from it. Stand up and walk away. That's ridiculous, right? Stay there and fill out the online app with them, right? You want to fill out the online app with them. So basically help them get started, right? Help them enroll, help them pick a package, walk them through the process. Okay. Don't just send them a link and be like, Harry, enroll. Be like, hey, let me walk you through this, right? And walk them through the sign up process and help them pick the package that's right for them. Okay. Now let's talk a little bit about people will be afraid not to join you when they know that you know where you're going. Jackpot. People will be afraid not to join you if they know that you know where you're going. If you know where you're going, people are going to want to get started with you, right? Some people close to live and other people live to close, right? I put a picture of Mariano Rivera, right? In my personal opinion, he was probably the best closer of all time, right? You know, that guy, what is a closer, right? Somebody that goes in at the end of the game and bam, right? Gets the win, right? Secures the win, right? So what do I mean by that? Some people close to live, right? That means you're out there trying to get people started because you're trying to make it happen for yourself. You understand? Other people live to close, meaning that they wake up every single day and they're like, man, I'm going to get somebody started in this business for what it can do for them, right? I'm going to get somebody started today because I know that I'm going to become wealthy, right? And I'm going to become a success, whatever that might, maybe you don't want to become wealthy. So maybe you want to make $500 a week, but whatever you want to get out of this business, you know what's going to happen. And you're like, I'm going to help other people go on this journey with me, right? So some people close to try to make it happen. And some people are getting people started, and that's their purpose, right? That's really what I'm doing, right? And that's if you don't get the close, leave them happy and excited, right? You want to be the PR team, right? Meaning like when they walk away from you, if they don't get started, they're going to be like, man, you know what? I hung out with those Riman people. Those guys are awesome, right? I was hanging out with those girls over at Riman. They're so awesome. I love hanging out with them. You know what I mean? Like you want to leave people happy, right? So let's wrap this thing up like a burrito today. Boom. Today, 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. Effort results, man. You want to stay on track, right? You want to stay on track. Consistently be consistent over a long period of time. Consistently be consistent every single day, no matter what. I was talking to my buddy today and he's looking at my schedule. He's like, literally, like I'm in Cabo San Lucas, you guys, and I was down at the pool for maybe 30 minutes today before our 9 o'clock meeting. And I've been here nonstop, meeting after meeting after meeting after meeting after meeting after meeting after meeting. Right after this, I'm going to get on, boom, I got another meeting nonstop. You understand why? Somebody goes, well, I don't want to do that. I want to go to Cabo and have fun. That's fine. My wife and I can go to Cabo anytime we want. You understand? It's like, I'm here and I got all, we've got, I don't know, maybe 150, 175 people here. I want to make sure that everybody's, getting as much training and getting as much equipped and feeling as special as possible that's here. Right. I want to be recording, getting training, getting information, like getting some trainings of all the people that are here, right? Recording them and videotaping them. Because a lot of you guys know we have an app that we're going to be launching. I don't want to talk about that, but here's what I want you guys to realize is this: stay on track over a long period of time, right? So if I'm getting started today and at the beginning, it's just me and maybe I've got a small team, but if I keep on keeping on over a 90-day period, my organization is going to grow, right? That team is going to grow and boom, I'm over the top. But if I don't stay on track, watch what happens, right? I get nudged off course, right? You get a little bit of an elbow in your back and you end up off course. And you're like, how did I get off course? Right? How did I end up over there? Right? It's like, boom, you ended up over there. Then you feel that elbow. Stay on track. Stay on track. How do you stay on track? Consistently be consistent. Consistently. Don't let your highs get too high. Don't let your lows get too low. Don't get emotionally connected to the results you have. Get emotionally connected to the effort you give. Oh my God. Say that again. Don't be emotionally attached to the results you get. Be emotionally connected to the effort you give. I've never said that before. That just came out. We got Dina Peacock in the house right now. You want to come out here, Dina, real quickly and say hi to everybody? We're wrapping this thing up like a burrito. You know what I just told everybody, Dina? This just came out of my head. Just said to myself, I said, look, you know what? That's what I said. What did I say again, guys? I forget. No, I said, this is so good. I said, look, okay, don't get emotionally connected. Don't get emotionally connected by the results you get. Get emotionally connected by the effort you give. Tell me that's not straight gold. That just came out. That just popped out. That was a little baby that happened right here. Look at this right here. We got Dina Peacock in the house.
I'm here to tell him to breathe. I'm worried he's not taking a breath.
We're not breathing anymore. We used to do that back in the days, and it worked. But you know what? We're going for it now. Dina's on fire right now. She's making it happen like a time.
Okay. Yes. Yes. Yes.
Dina's jacked up.
Yes.
How was this trip?
Hello. This has been unbelievable. I've been here before, so I knew I wasn't missing this one because this is one of the best resorts I've ever been to. Love it, love it, love it. And of course, it didn't disappoint. I'll tell you, it's been a lot more fun coming with this group than it was with my last group.
You already know how we roll. We're getting too much. We're having too much fun.
What do you want me to do?
There you did it.
Oh, thanks.
Just hey, everybody.
Bye.
Bye. We're wrapping this thing up like a burrito. We were going to wrap it up like a Christmas gift, but we said, hey, we're in Mexico. Let's wrap it up like a burrito. Maybe a taquito because they do it real tight. We're wrapping it up like a taquito, guys. I'm getting jacked out of my mind right now. Fired up like never before. So you guys just heard it there, man. We had 2 celebrity guest appearances on here. Call to action, right? Have 5 guests on the Saturday Zoom. We already know. We got Chris Kim. We got Chris Kim on Saturday. Doesn't get any better than Chris Kim, right? K-pop celebrity talking about K-beauty. What? That's happening Saturday. We got Christy Belliston and Christy Malone on Monday, right? I'm going to be doing an event in Southern California. Get your buddies out there. Qualify for the Recruit 3 promo. No brainer. A lot's good, more's better, but too much is just right, baby. A lot's good, more's better, but too much is just right, baby. Meaning what? Meaning get all the money you can, baby. They're throwing it at us. Let's get it, right? Let's go get it. Right? Make sure everyone gets their Mother's Day promo. That bad boy's hitting Sunday night. There's mothers that are walking around being like, I'm looking shabby. We're not letting our moms look shabby. Register for yourself for Roadmap. Get to Roadmap no matter what and create at least one manager. We all know the lifeblood of this business is doing what? Creating managers, right? Everybody knows, right? Get somebody started, get them to manager. Get somebody started, get them to manager. Get somebody. Oh my God, I nailed it. I nailed it on the time. I didn't have my phone. I gave my phone earlier away to somebody. I didn't know what the time was. And literally, I got 4 minutes to spare. You already know I'm fired up about that. So here's what I want to share with you as we wrap this thing up. Paula Logan's fired up right now in Australia. Bam. Here's what we're going to do, you guys. We're going to go on a mission. Here's my goal, right? Okay. Everybody commit to doing, let's give everybody a small goal. 5 presentations. I'm going to type out that last quote. It's super simple, right? Don't get emotionally connected. Don't get emotionally connected to the effort. Think about that. Don't get emotionally connected to the results you get. Right? It's not the results you get. You're not, if I'm emotionally connected to the results I get, right? I'm going to be excited about somebody saying yes, or I'm going to be bummed about somebody saying no. But if I'm emotionally connected to the effort I give, think about what I'm saying. If I'm emotionally connected to the effort I give, I'm always going to feel good because I can control my effort. I can't control what somebody says. If they say yes or they say no, I can influence that by developing my skill set and doing a lot of presentations, but I can't control people. I can only influence them, but I can control what it is that I do. And if I know that if I do the right thing day in and day out on a consistent basis, I know the results are going to come. I'm going to fire it up right now, you guys. Here's what I want to share with you guys. This is it. This is our time to make it happen. This window of opportunity right now that we've got in our fingertips, will never be recreated again. What would happen if you gave it everything that you got right now? Okay. Here's the goal. 5 presentations. 5. Between now and next week. It could be a wow party, right? Or we could pop up or whatever. Get them all together. Do a little home party, whatever you want to call it. It could be a party like that. It could be a one-on-one, right? It could be a Zoom one-on-one, whatever. I'm talking about 5 presentations. How are you going to get good? You're only going to get by doing it. You got to do it, man. You got to make it happen. You got to make a decision in your mind to say, look, I'm going to get the job done. I'm going to make it happen, right? Over, under, through, I'm going to the top. I'm going to make it happen. I'm going to win. Okay? I'm going to make it happen no matter what. Over, under, or through. This is it. This is my time to do something special. What happens if you say, this is my time to do something great? I'm not going to let this moment in time pass me by, right? I'm not just going to sit back and be a quiet member of the association and sit back and be a part of it. I'm going to step up, and guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to play a major role. This is it. This is my time. You got to be saying to yourself, this is my time to do something great. This is my time to make it happen. Over, under, through, I'm going to the top. I'm going to run with it. Let's go. I'm fired up. Next Friday, we're going to do a pop-up. I'm going to duplicate pop-ups. You guys are going to love that training. I can't wait for next Friday. Let's go all out, massive action to make it happen. Thank you guys. Let's apply what we know. 5 presentations this week, no matter what, right? The only way to get good, you don't have to be great to get started, but you got to get started to be great. Zig Ziglar. Rest of your morning, Paula, and good night to everybody else.